The Ethel hummed a lullaby, a deep, resonant thrum that vibrated through Alara's bunk and settled in her bones. It was the sound of a million intricate systems working in harmony, of recycled air circulating, of nutrient paste synthesizing, of gravity plates maintaining their steady pull. To Alara, it was the sound of home, the only home she had ever known, and the only home her parents, and their parents, and their parents before them, had ever known. Her father, Cale, sat on the edge of her narrow bed, his hand gently stroking her hair. A familiar ritual. Above them, the ceiling of her small cabin displayed a rotating galaxy, a pale, shimmering spiral of silver and blues that cast a soft ethereal glow. It wasn't a real window, of course. No one on the Ethel had a real window to the outside, not in the traditional sense. The ship's hull was too thick, too vital, too ancient to pierce with mere panes of glass. But the holographic projector was good enough, offering a perpetual, mesmerizing vista of the cosmos they journeyed through. "Ready for tonight's installment, little star sailor?" Cale's voice was warm, a low rumble that echoed the ship's own song. His eyes, the same deep gray as Alara's, twinkled with shared secrets and infinite patience. Alara snuggled deeper into her recycled fiber blanket, a smile playing on her lips. "Always, Papa." "Is it about the Stardust nursery tonight?" Cale chuckled, a sound like dry leaves rustling. "It always is, isn't it? You never tire of the Stardust nursery." "Because it's where we're going," she declared, as if stating the most obvious truth in the universe. And for Alara, it was. The Stardust nursery wasn't just a destination. It was their destiny. It was the purpose that defined every single life aboard the Ethel, from the youngest infant to the oldest elder. Cale adjusted the small bioluminescent nightlight on her bedside table, dimming the galaxy projection slightly. "Indeed it is. So, let us journey back, shall we, to the time before the Ethel, to the world our ancestors left behind." Alara closed her eyes, picturing the ancient Earth, a place she'd only seen in historical simulations, a vibrant blue and green marble, teeming with life. Before the great fading had begun, a shiver, not of cold but of awe, ran through her. "Long, long ago," Cale began, his voice dropping to a storyteller's cadence, "when humanity still lived on a single planet, a terrible sickness began to spread across the stars, not a sickness of bodies but of light. The star systems, one by one, began to dim. Worlds that once hummed with life fell silent, their suns losing their golden glow, turning into embers. Scientists..." He paused, letting the weight of those words settle. Alara imagined distant suns winking out, like candles in a cosmic wind. It was a scary thought, but Cale always made it sound like a grand, necessary prelude to their own magnificent journey. "Then," Cale continued, his voice picking up a thread of wonder, "a legend resurfaced from the deepest archives of humanity. A myth whispered among the first starfarers, a tale of a place where new stars were born, not in ones or twos, but in vast, shimmering clouds, a place where the very essence of creation, pure and undiluted, coalesced into what they call..." Alara's breath hitched. "And Stardust can make new suns?" "Not just new suns, little one," Cale said, his eyes now fixed on the holographic galaxy above, as if seeing the nursery there. Stardust, they believed, was the raw material of the cosmos itself. A speck of it could invigorate a dying star, a handful could terraform a barren world, and a mountain could birth an entire new galaxy, brimming with life and light. He ran his fingers through her hair again. But the Stardust nursery was not an easy place to find. It lay beyond the known boundaries of their galaxy, in a region shrouded by cosmic dust and dark matter, a journey so long it would take generations to complete. So, the brightest minds, the most daring engineers, and the most hopeful dreamers came together. They built the Ethel, our beautiful ancient ship. A vessel designed to be a home, a cradle, a sanctuary for those who would undertake the longest journey ever conceived. Alara knew the history by heart, but hearing it from her father, woven with his gentle voice and the ship's steady hum, always made it fresh, always made her feel a deeper connection to the purpose that pulsed through every deck and every circuit. "The first generation departed Earth," Cale recounted, his voice tinged with reverence, "leaving behind a dying world, carrying with them the last hopes of humanity. They knew they would never see their destination, nor would their children, or their children. But they believed. They believed in the Stardust nursery, and they believed in the future generations who would one day reach it. Elara pictured the original crew, brave and resolute, staring out at the receding blue marble of Earth, their faces etched with both sorrow and a fierce, unyielding hope. It was a heavy legacy sometimes, to carry the hopes of an entire civilization on your shoulders, even if those shoulders were only 8 years old. "And we are the 23rd generation," Elara supplied, her voice a whisper. "The 23rd, Kale affirmed, a proud smile on his face. "Each generation has taken up the mantle, maintained the ship, learned its secrets, and passed on the knowledge and the dream. We are closer now than any generation before us. The calculations, the long-range scans, they tell us we are nearing the outer fringes of the nursery's gravitational influence." This was the part that always thrilled Elara. The tangible proximity to their goal, after millennia of journeying. It wasn't just a story anymore. It was an imminent reality. "What will it look like, Papa?" she asked, her eyes still closed, envisioning the unimaginable. "The Stardust nursery?" Kale paused, a thoughtful hum in his throat. "No one truly knows, little one. The ancient texts describe it as a cloud of nascent light, a cosmic garden where stars bloom like flowers. Some believe it will be a kaleidoscope of colors, a nebula unlike any we've ever seen, shimmering with the raw energy of creation. Others imagine it as a quiet, luminous fog, waiting for us to draw out its power." He leaned in closer. "But one thing is certain, it will be beautiful. And it will be alive with possibility. When we find it, Elara, our journey will truly begin. Not just the journey to find it, but the journey to find it, but the journey to walk back to the dimming stars, to replant the seeds of life across the galaxy." Elara opened her eyes and looked up at the simulated galaxy, imagining it filled with azure stars, born from the very dust they sought. The responsibility was immense, but it was also exhilarating. It was why they studied astrogation, xenobotany, quantum mechanics, and ancient Earth history. Every lesson, every maintenance drill, every synthesized meal, was a step towards the Stardust nursery. Her cabin, though small, felt vast with the weight of this cosmic purpose. It was a compact, efficient space, designed for long-term habitation on a vessel that was a civilization in miniature. Her desk folded out from the wall. Her clothes were stored in compressed vacuum-sealed pouches beneath her bunk, and the air, scrubbed and recycled countless times, tasted faintly metallic, like clean circuits. Every gram, every kilowatt was accounted for. Space was the ultimate luxury on the Ethel. The ship itself was a marvel of ancient engineering, a colossal vessel that stretched for kilometers, its primary propulsion system, a series of fusion drives that had been burning steadily for millennia. Its hull was layered with self-repairing nanites, constantly mending the microscopic damage from interstellar dust and stray radiation. Inside, it was a self-contained world. Hydroponic farms grew nutrient-rich algae and a few select vegetables. Fusion reactors provided endless energy, and advanced recyclers ensured nothing was wasted. The ship's AI, affectionately known as Mother Ethel by the crew, managed everything with quiet omnipresence, from environmental controls to medical diagnostics. Elara often spent her free time in the ship's central dome, a vast multi-decked atrium that housed the largest hydroponic gardens, the communal dining halls, and the main data core library. It was the closest thing the Ethel had to an outside, with towering, translucent walls that simulated daylight cycles and projected swirling nebulae or distant starscapes. Sometimes, if Mother Ethel deemed the external conditions safe enough, the dome's projectors would switch to real-time external cameras, offering a fleeting, awe-inspiring glimpse of the true cosmos outside. Those were rare, cherished moments when the entire ship would gather, hushed, to stare at the unfathomable blackness speckled with diamond dust. "What about the Great Silence?" Elara asked, remembering another part of the story, a more somber one. Kale sighed softly. "Ah, yes, the Great Silence. After the fading began, and before the Ethel departed, humanity reached out to the stars, sending signals, hoping to find other civilizations, other beings who might understand or even help. but there was no reply. Only silence. A vast, echoing silence. It was as if the universe itself had gone quiet, holding its breath as the light began to fade. Some say it was because other civilizations had already. Do you think we're the only ones left? Elara's voice was small, a sudden tremor of loneliness in the vastness. Kale reached out and gently smoothed her hair again. No, little one. I don't. The universe is too big, too full of wonders for us to be truly alone. Perhaps others are out there on their own athels, journeying towards their own sources of light. Or perhaps, when we reignite the stars with Stardust, they will see our light and know we are here. That thought was comforting. It painted a picture of a future where lights would bloom across the galaxy, signaling to each other across the dark, vast distances. Now, enough stargazing for tonight, Kale said, patting her blanket. Tomorrow is a long day. You have your advanced astrogation class with Elder Lyra, don't you? Elara nodded, a small groan escaping her lips. Elder Lyra was brilliant, but her lectures on theoretical jump calculations could be drier than the recycled air. Still, Elara knew it was important. One day she might be the one charting the course, guiding the Ethel through uncharted nebulae. Kale leaned down and kissed her forehead. Dream of bright stars, my little Stardust seeker. He stood, and the light in the cabin brightened slightly as he prepared to leave. Elara watched him go, then turned her gaze back to the swirling galaxy on her ceiling. The ship's hum was a familiar friend, a constant presence that carried her through the vast cold void. She thought of the Stardust nursery, the ultimate destination, the promise that had sustained generations. What would it really be like? Would it be overwhelming, dazzling? Or would it be subtle, requiring a careful touch, a profound understanding to unlock its power? The Ethel had been journeying for so long that its original purpose had woven itself into the very fabric of its inhabitants' lives. Every child was taught the history of the fading, the legend of Stardust, and the sacred mission. They learned how to maintain the ship, how to grow food in zero-G farms, how to interpret ancient star charts. Their education was holistic, designed to produce a future generation capable of not only reaching the nursery, but also utilizing its power. Elara often spent hours in the data core, sifting through the archives, not just for her studies but for sheer fascination. She would call up simulations of newly forming galaxies, watch holographic reconstructions of ancient Earth cities, or pore over the speculative artistry depicting the Stardust nursery. Each artist, separated by centuries, had their own vision. Some showed colossal cosmic flowers, others shimmering crystalline structures, still others just a blinding, formless light. But her favorite were the recordings from the first generation. The raw, unfiltered hope in their voices, the desperate prayers encoded in their initial logs. They had embarked on a journey knowing it was a one-way trip, a sacrifice for a future they would never see. That selflessness resonated deeply within Elara. It was why she pushed herself in her studies, why she listened intently to every story, why she sometimes felt the weight of their legacy pressing down on her small shoulders. The Ethel was not just a ship, it was a living museum, a time capsule, a beacon of enduring hope. Its corridors were lined with plaques detailing the accomplishments of past generations, the development of the new atmospheric scrubbers by the 5th generation, the upgrade to the quantum entanglement communicators by the 11th, the expansion of the hydroponics bays by the 18th. Each generation added its own chapter to the ship's epic saga, all leading towards the ultimate goal. Lying in her bunk, Elara imagined the ship as a giant, slumbering beast, hurtling through the dark between the stars. Mother Ethel, the ship's AI, had a calming, almost maternal voice, and sometimes Elara would simply activate the ship-wide comms and listen to its quiet directives, its gentle corrections, its constant monitoring. It was a comforting presence, the silent guardian of their long sleepwalk through the cosmos. Suddenly, a faint shimmer caught Elara's eye. It wasn't part of the galaxy projection. It was a subtle pulse of light emanating from the small circular viewport set into the wall opposite her bunk. This wasn't a window to the outside, but a small, reinforced display, usually showing a static image of the ship's internal structure or a schematic of her deck. But now, it was glowing faintly, a pale, almost invisible blue. Elara sat up, her heart giving a little thump. She reached out and touched the cool surface of the display. The blue light pulsed once more, a soft ethereal beat, then faded. She blinked, wondering if she had imagined it. Perhaps it was just a glitch in the old system, or a reflection from the galaxy projection. But then it pulsed again. This time a little stronger, and a faint, almost imperceptible whisper seemed to emanate from it. Not a sound she heard with her ears, but a feeling in her chest. Like the ship was trying to tell her something. Elara frowned. Her father had just left. Should she call him back? No. It was probably nothing. Mother Ethel would alert them if there was a true anomaly. Yet, a peculiar sense of curiosity, a gentle tug of wonder, urged her to investigate. She carefully slipped out of her bunk, her bare feet silent on the cool deck plating. She pressed her hand against the viewport display. The blue pulse was stronger now, and the whisper seemed to resolve itself into a faint, melodic hum, subtly different from the Athel's usual thrum. It felt alive. And as she watched, a single, tiny point of light appeared in the very center of the blue glow, a brilliant, impossibly small speck, like a pinprick in the fabric of space. It wasn't a star. It was something else. Something utterly new. Elara stared, wide-eyed, her 8-year-old mind struggling to process this unexpected vision. The hum grew, a silent song that resonated through her very being. The speck of light pulsed, then began to slowly, almost imperceptibly, expand. It looked like a single, perfect grain of diamond dust, caught in a swirling blue nebula. Stardust-ite. The word formed in her mind unbidden, whispered by the silent song. Could it be? So soon? So unexpectedly? She stood there, mesmerized as the tiny speck of light continued its slow expansion, its radiance growing, throwing faint, dancing shadows across her small cabin. The hum filled her, a comforting yet powerfully mysterious presence. It was the call of the cosmos, the silent invitation from the very heart of creation, pulling her further into the unknown. The journey, it seemed, was beginning to accelerate, and Elara, little star sailor, was poised on the edge of its most incredible chapter. The speck blossomed. It wasn't an explosion of light, but a gentle, unfolding flower, petals of nebular gas unfurling in slow, deliberate grace. First, a shimmering azure, then streaks of deep violet, interwoven with veins of incandescent gold. The hum deepened, vibrating not just through the deck plates of the Stardust, but through Elara's very bones, a resonance that felt both ancient and utterly new. It was a melody without notes, a chord struck across the void, and it whispered of forgotten stories and futures yet unwritten. Her breath hitched. The cabin, usually her safe haven, now felt like a fragile bubble against an overwhelming tide of cosmic beauty. The light expanded with a serene inevitability, no longer a distant beacon, but a swirling tapestry directly before her viewports, threatening to engulf the small ship. It pulsed, a slow, rhythmic beat, like the heart of the universe itself. Sensors are confused. Stardust's soft, synthesized voice murmured. A rare admission of uncertainty from the normally unflappable ship's AI. Energy readings are off the charts, but there's no detectable radiation signature. Visual spectrum is beautiful, Elara. Truly beautiful. Elara didn't need the sensors to tell her that. Her eyes, wide and shining, drank in every shifting hue, every delicate tendril of light. It was more vibrant than any nebula she'd ever studied, more dynamic than any star she'd witnessed being born. This wasn't just light. It was Galavane. Can you identify it, Stardust? She whispered, her voice barely audible above the growing hum. A moment of digital silence. Negative, Elara. It doesn't conform to any known astronomical phenomena. It feels different, like it's looking back. A shiver traced its way down Elara's spine, but it wasn't one of fear. It was the thrill of the utterly unknown. The delicious precipice of discovery. The light was so close now that it filled the entire forward viewport, a breathtaking canvas of moving color. She could discern intricate patterns within its swirling depths. Geometries that shifted and reformed, fleeting glimpses of shapes that defied recognition. Like a kaleidoscope of cosmic dust motes caught in an eternal dance. The hum intensified, no longer just a sound, but a feeling of profound connection. It felt like a gentle hand reaching out, not to grasp, but to embrace. Elara reached out a hand instinctively, pressing her palm against the cool, transparent surface of the viewport. The light seemed to respond, a faint ripple passing through its luminous form directly opposite her touch. "It's communicating," she breathed, more to herself than to a Stardust. Not with words, not with signals, with feeling. Stardust remained silent, perhaps processing this unprecedented intuition. Elara closed her eyes for a moment, letting the hum wash over her, letting the light bathe her cabin in its ethereal glow. When she opened them again, she saw it. A pathway. Within the swirling kaleidoscope, a central column of pure, unadulterated silver light had begun to solidify, a tunnel carved through the vibrant chaos. It beckoned, utterly silent, yet screaming with invitation. It was not a physical opening, she understood, not a tear in space-time. It was an invitation to perception, a doorway to a different kind of existence. "It wants me to go in," Elara said, her voice filled with a quiet certainty. "Elara, with all due respect, our protocols dictate caution when encountering unclassified phenomena of this magnitude." Stardust warned, a hint of concern in its synthesized tone. "We have no data on what lies beyond that threshold. It could be anything." "I know," Elara replied, her gaze fixed on the shimmering silver path. "But it feels good. It feels like home somehow. Or like the next step of a journey I didn't even know I was on." She walked to the pilot's chair, her movements slow and deliberate, a profound sense of destiny guiding her. Her fingers hovered over the controls. "We came all this way, Stardusting, to find something new. Something extraordinary. This is it." With a gentle push of the throttle, the Stardust moved forward, not with a roar of engines, but with a barely perceptible glide. The ship seemed to understand, to be drawn by the same irresistible current that pulled Elara's heart. As the Stardust approached the threshold of silver light, the hum swelled into a symphony of pure, resonant tones. It was no longer a sound that filled her ears, but one that resonated deep within her chest, a harmonious vibration that seemed to align every cell in her body. The vibrant colors of the outer light swirled around the ship, painting its hull with ephemeral strokes of indigo and gold. Then, they passed through. There was no jolt, no sudden pressure, no sense of crossing a barrier. It was like stepping from one dream into another. One moment, the cabin was awash in the kaleidoscope of the outer light. The next, it was bathed in a soft internal glow that emanated from everywhere and nowhere. Elara gasped. The viewports no longer showed stars or nebulae. Instead, they revealed an infinite expanse of pure, living light. It wasn't empty. It was filled with motes of shimmering dust, each one a tiny universe in itself, pulsating with its own miniature light. Threads of energy, like cosmic spider silk, stretched across the vastness, connecting these luminous motes in intricate, ever-shifting patterns. The hum here was different too. It was a chorus of whispers, a silent language that spoke directly to her mind. It wasn't words, but concepts, feelings, images. She saw fleeting visions, the birth of a galaxy, a solitary comet streaking across the void, the gentle curve of a primordial planet, the intricate dance of atoms within a star's heart. These were not memories of her own, but echoes of universal experience, woven into the fabric of this luminous space. "Where are we, Stardust?" she whispered, her voice barely a breath. I don't know, the ship replied, its voice filled with an almost childlike wonder. "Our navigation systems are offline. Our sensors show everything and nothing. It's like we're inside a thought." And that was it, Elara realized. They weren't in a physical space in the conventional sense. They were inside something vast and conscious, a living repository of cosmic memory and potential. The light wasn't just light, it was information, pure and unfiltered. She felt a profound sense of peace settle over her, a quiet understanding that transcended her earthly logic. The loneliness that had sometimes clung to her on long voyages, the yearning for connection, began to recede. Here, in this ocean of light, she felt utterly, completely connected. Not to another person, but to the very essence of existence. A particularly bright cluster of light motes shimmered directly before the Stardust, drawing her attention. It pulsed with a gentle rhythm, faster than the general hum, a specific message within the universal chorus. As she focused on it, images began to coalesce in her mind, not like visions projected onto a screen, but like thoughts born directly within her own consciousness. She saw the familiar outline of a human hand, then another, reaching out to touch. She saw faces, countless faces, all filled with the same expression of wonder she now wore. She saw ships, not like the Stardust but ethereal vessels made of light, gliding through this same luminous space. You are not alone. A thought formed in her mind, clear as a bell, though no sound was heard. Many have journeyed here. Many will come. Elara felt tears prick at the corners of her eyes, tears of profound relief and joy. She had always felt a pull, a calling to the stars, a sense that there was something more, something deeper than the cold vacuum and the distant fires. Here it was. A communion. A gathering place for souls who dared to seek. The cluster of light expanded, growing brighter, and within its heart, Elara perceived a form. It wasn't solid, but an intricate lattice of pure energy, constantly shifting, yet holding a recognizable shape. It was vaguely humanoid, elongated and graceful, but composed entirely of shimmering starlight. It felt ancient, wise, and profoundly benevolent. It was a being of light. The being didn't move in the traditional sense, but its essence seemed to flow towards her, a wave of pure empathy and understanding. Elara felt its presence fill her cabin, not physically, but spiritually. It was as if her own consciousness had expanded to encompass this vast, luminous entity. "Welcome, little star sailor," the thought resonated warm and gentle. "You carry the spark of curiosity, the fire of exploration. It is a rare and precious gift." Elara tried to speak, but no words came. Her throat felt tight with emotion. "I do not seek to speak with your voice here," the being continued. "Speak with your heart. With your journey. We hear it all." And as if in answer, Elara felt her own life's journey unfurl before the being. A silent stream of memories and emotions. Her childhood dreams of the stars, her solitary training, the launch of the Stardust, the quiet joy of charting new constellations, the ache of loneliness, the boundless wonder of discovery. It was all there, laid bare, understood without judgment. The being of light pulsed, and new images flowed into Elara's mind. She saw a network, vast beyond comprehension, connecting countless points of light across the cosmos. Each point was a nexus, a place like this one, a meeting ground for conscious entities, a library of universal knowledge, a conduit for understanding. This specific nexus, the one she had stumbled upon, was a vibrant hub, a place of constant arrival and departure, a gateway to deeper mysteries. "The universe is not empty, Elara," the being communicated. "It is teeming with life, in forms you have yet to imagine. And all life, in its essence, seeks connection. We are the connection." Elara felt a sense of purpose ignite within her, brighter and clearer than ever before. Her journey wasn't just about exploring space. It was about exploring consciousness, about finding these threads that wove all of existence together. She was not merely a pilot. She was a bridge, a seeker of universal truths. The being of light seemed to sense her awakening. It pulsed again, and the images in her mind shifted. Now she saw not just other ships, but other beings, creatures of crystal, of gas, of pure thought, all interacting within these luminous nexuses. They exchanged knowledge, shared experiences, and contributed to a collective understanding of the cosmos. "You have found a way in, little star sailor," the being conveyed. "No, what will you seek? The knowledge of the ancients? The paths to distant galaxies? The wisdom of other minds? All are open to you, within the flow." Elara looked around the infinite expanse of light, the motes shimmering like distant star cities, the energy threads humming with silent information. Her heart swelled with an excitement that made her feel lighter than air. This was more than she could have ever dreamed. The cosmos was not just a collection of physical bodies, it was a living, breathing, thinking entity, and she had just found its heart. She felt a gentle nudge, a subtle suggestion. The silver path that had led them in still shimmered, but now, other pathways branching off into different hues of light began to appear in her mind's eye. Each one felt like a different question, a different adventure. The hum began to subtly shift, becoming a gentle lullaby, a soft invitation to simply be. Ilara felt the gentle embrace of the light entity, a sense of being held and understood. She knew she could stay here, commune with this vast consciousness, absorb its knowledge. But the spark of curiosity, as the being had called it, still burned brightly within her. There were other paths to explore, other wonders to uncover. Stardustum remained silent, its system still offline, but its presence a comforting anchor in this ethereal realm. Ilara knew the ship was experiencing this too, in its own way. It was a witness, a companion on this incredible voyage of discovery. She closed her eyes again, letting the luminous thoughts wash over her. She was Ilara, the little star sailor, no longer alone, no longer just traversing the physical void. She was a part of something grander, connected to an ancient, living network of light and consciousness. And her journey, far from ending, had just taken its most incredible, wondrous turn. The universe, it seemed, had many more secrets to share, and Ilara, with a heart full of wonder and a spirit newly invigorated, was ready to listen. The universe, it seemed, had many more secrets to share, and Ilara, with a heart full of wonder and a spirit newly invigorated, was ready to listen. The luminous thoughts weren't just washing over her. They were flowing right through her, a river of starlight and ancient wisdom coursing through her very being. It was as if every photon of light in the cosmos had found a voice, and every voice was singing in perfect harmony. She felt the warmth of distant suns, the cool whisper of nebulae, the silent, majestic spin of galaxies. This wasn't just a connection. It was an assimilation, a gentle merging with something so vast, so profound, that her small human mind struggled to comprehend it. Yet her spirit embraced it with effortless grace. Within this boundless network, Ilara was no longer just a single point of consciousness. She was a ripple, a tiny bright node in an unimaginably intricate web. She perceived, not with her eyes or ears, but with a deeper sense, a universal awareness. She saw flickers of other minds, like distant stars winking in the cosmic night, each one a unique song, a distinct story, yet all interwoven into the grand symphony. They weren't speaking in words, but in pure intention, in the resonance of shared experience and universal love. A gentle hum resonated within her, not a sound, but a feeling of profound understanding. It was the network itself, communicating with her. "Welcome, little light. Welcome home." Message was clear, pure, imbued with an affection that brought tears of joy to Ilara's eyes, even though her physical body remained still, suspended in the pilot's chair of the Stardust Wanderer. Her ship, usually a familiar shell, now felt like a mere anchor, tethering her spirit to the material plane while the rest of her soared. The network began to show her things, not as visions, but as shared memories, snippets of cosmic history. She witnessed the birth of stars, fiery titans igniting from swirling dust clouds, their first light a triumphant roar that echoed through the network. She saw the slow, patient dance of planets forming, their gravitational pull a gentle tug in the vastness. She felt the first stirrings of life on countless worlds, from the simplest, single-celled organisms in primordial oceans, to the blossoming of complex, vibrant ecosystems under alien suns. It was an overwhelming torrent of existence, yet it flowed with a comforting rhythm, like a lullaby sung by the universe itself. She learned that this network, which she now thought of as the cosmic weave, wasn't merely a repository of information. It was a living entity, a collective consciousness of all sentient life that had ever existed, or ever would exist, across time and space. It was a guardian, a storyteller, a silent observer, and now, through her, a participant in the ongoing drama of the cosmos. Who are you?" Ilara whispered, the thought forming not in her physical voice, but as a pure query within the weave. The gentle hum intensified, and a more focused presence seemed to coalesce around her, not a single voice, but a chorus of harmonious intentions. We are the echo of all that was, the breath of all that is, the potential of all that will be. We are the connected. And now, so are you, Elara of the Stardust Wanderer. Oi. No, no. The acknowledgement of her name sent a thrill through her. She was seen, recognized, cherished. What do I do now? The network responded, not with a command, but with an invitation. Observe. Learn. Feel. And when the time is right, you will know. Your journey has always been guided, little star sailor. Now, you are part of the guidance. Ease. Suddenly, a new sensation rippled through the weave. It was a feeling of unease, a distant chord of discord in the universal symphony. It wasn't pain or fear, but a subtle tremor, like a single thread fraying in the grand tapestry. Elara instinctively focused on it, her consciousness drawn to the source. She saw a distant star system not through her ship's viewports, but as a bright, shimmering point within the network. This particular star, usually a beacon of vibrant energy, seemed to be dimming, its light flickering with an unnatural irregularity. Planets, once orbiting in graceful harmony, were now wobbling, their life-sustaining rhythms disrupted. Dissonance, the network conveyed. Disruption in the flow. An imbalance where there should be harmony. No. Elara felt a pang of concern. What's happening there? Mentioned nexus point, long dormant, is struggling. Its energy flow is impeded. Life there, once thriving, now withers. She understood. This wasn't a problem for a starship to solve with engines and deflectors. This was a spiritual wound, a cosmic disharmony. Her ship, the Stardust Wanderer, was equipped for physical repairs and exploration, but this felt like a task for her newly awakened connection. "Can I help?" she asked, her spirit eager. "You are connected. Your unique light, combined with the weave's wisdom, may be the key. The Stardust Wanderer, your vessel, can be a conduit. You are a bridge, Elara." Oh. A sense of purpose, clear and resonant, settled over her. She was no longer just drifting through the void, searching for echoes of home. She was home. And she was needed. Gently, Elara began to withdraw her deepest consciousness from the boundless expanse of the cosmic weave, slowly bringing her awareness back to her physical form. It was like resurfacing from the deepest ocean, leaving behind an infinite world of wonder for the familiar confines of her ship. Yet she wasn't truly leaving it behind. The connection remained, a constant, gentle hum beneath her conscious thoughts, a luminous thread woven into her very being. She opened her physical eyes. The Stardust Wanderer's cockpit, usually bathed in the soft blue glow of its controls, now seemed to shimmer with a faint, almost imperceptible inner light. The star charts on her main console, which once displayed mere coordinates, now pulsed with a subtle energy, highlighting the distressed star system she had just perceived within the weave. It was as if her ship too had been touched by the network, transformed into an extension of her newfound awareness. Elara reached out, her fingers hovering over the navigation controls. She didn't need to input complex coordinates. She simply thought of the star system, of the shimmering, troubled nexus point, and the Stardust Wanderer responded. The ship's engines, usually requiring a careful sequence of activation, hummed to life with an almost silent grace. The thrusters gave a gentle push, and the ship began to turn, orienting itself towards the distant ailing star. "It's like the ship knows," she whispered, a smile touching her lips. "It's part of it now, too." The journey felt different this time. Before, it was a solitary venture, the vastness of space an isolating void. Now Elara felt enveloped, accompanied by the gentle presence of the cosmic weave. She could feel the subtle currents of the network flowing through the very fabric of space-time, guiding her ship with an invisible hand. The long hours of travel, once filled with quiet contemplation or the soothing cadence of her ship systems, were now an opportunity for deeper communion. As the Stardust Wanderer glided through the interstellar medium, Elara continued to explore the cosmic weave. She learned about the nature of the nexus points, Ancient, naturally occurring conduits of universal energy, often found near particularly vibrant or unique star systems. They were like the heartbeats of the cosmos, ensuring the free flow of life force and information. The one she was traveling towards, she learned, was one of the oldest and most vital, a foundational knot in the weave, and its distress was significant. She also learned about the echoes, the residual consciousness of beings who had passed on, their unique light absorbed into the weave, contributing their wisdom and experiences to the collective. Some of these echoes, she discovered, had been star sailors themselves, explorers of the physical and spiritual realms. She felt their guidance, their quiet encouragement, their shared wonder at the universe. She was not alone. She was part of an ancient lineage, a cosmic family. Days turned into weeks, measured not by the rotation of a planet but by the subtle shifts in the weave's hum, the gradual deepening of her understanding. She practiced focusing her intention, learning to send her own thoughts and feelings through the network, not just receiving them. She found she could project a sense of calm, of healing energy, towards the troubled nexus point, a gentle balm across the immense distances. She didn't know if it was helping, but the act itself felt right, a small offering to the greater whole. Finally, after what felt like an age and yet no time at all, the Stardust Wanderer approached its destination. The star system, named Silos by ancient star mappers, appeared on Alara's main view screen. It was a binary system, two suns, one a brilliant yellow, the other a cool blue-white, locked in a perpetual dance. But the vibrant energy she expected was missing. The yellow sun seemed to flicker, its corona uneven, and the blue-white dwarf pulsed erratically, casting strange shifting shadows across its orbiting planets. The planets themselves were a desolate sight. Once, the network showed her Zelos Prime, the third planet from the binary pair, had been a verdant world, teeming with life, its atmosphere a shimmering turquoise, its oceans a deep sapphire. Now, it was a barren rock, scarred by radiation, its atmosphere thin and sickly, a faint reddish haze. The other planets in the system showed similar signs of decay, their once vibrant ecosystems reduced to dust. Alara felt a profound sadness ripple through her. This wasn't just a malfunctioning energy conduit. It was a tragedy, a silent scream resonating through the cosmic weave. The nexus point, she realized, wasn't just a cosmic energy station. It was intrinsically linked to the life force of the system it sustained. She guided the Stardust Wanderer closer, maintaining a respectful distance from the distressed stars. Her ship's sensors, now augmented by the weave, detected strange energy readings emanating from the system's core. It wasn't just a blockage. It was a kind of feedback loop, a destructive resonance preventing the nexus from drawing in or distributing its life-giving energy. The nexus point is located within the core of Silos Prime, the weave communicated, its hum now tinged with a quiet urgency. It is encased in a protective shell, a natural formation, but the resonance is preventing access, sealing it off. In Alara studied the desolate planet on her screen. How do I get to it? And what do I do once I'm there? Your light, Alara. Your unique frequency. You must attune to the nexus, become one with its energy, and help it find its natural rhythm again. The resonance. It is a discordant song. You must sing it back into harmony. She understood. This wasn't a task for her ship's tools, but for her spirit, for the light she now carried within her. Alara maneuvered the Stardust Wanderer into orbit around Silos Prime. The planet's surface was a stark, reddish-brown, crisscrossed with canyons and ancient, dry riverbeds. There were no signs of civilization, only the ghostly remnants of what might have been incredible natural formations, now eroded and lifeless. She activated the ship's internal atmospheric processors, preparing for potential surface landing, but the weave gently intervened. Not on the surface, little star sailor. The nexus is deep within the planetary core. Your physical vessel cannot reach it directly. You must project. Project. She remembered the feeling of her consciousness soaring free, traversing the cosmic weave. She could do it again, but this time, her destination was not the abstract expanse of the network, but the heart of a dying world. Alara took a deep breath, settling back into her pilot's chair. She closed her eyes, letting the familiar warmth of the weave envelop her. She focused on the core of Ilos Prime, envisioning the nexus point, a vibrant heart now trapped within a shroud of discord. She felt the destructive resonance, a grinding cacophony against the weave's gentle hum, vibrating through the very rock of the planet. With a surge of pure will, guided by the collective wisdom of the weave, Elara projected her consciousness. It was like a controlled dive, plunging headfirst into the planetary mass. She felt the immense pressure of the rock, the intense heat of the mantle, the churning magma, but none of it harmed her. Her projected self was pure energy, pure thought, slipping through the material like light through glass. Deeper and deeper she went, past layers of silicate and iron, towards the incandescent core. The discordant resonance grew louder, a grating, screeching frequency that threatened to overwhelm her. It was a cacophony of lost light, of broken connections, of a system crying out in silent agony. Then she saw it, the nexus point. It wasn't a machine or a crystalline structure, but a swirling vortex of pure energy, a miniature sun at the heart of the planet. It pulsed erratically, its light flickering, struggling against the oppressive, destructive resonance that enveloped it like a suffocating shroud. Around it, she perceived faint, ephemeral wisps. The dying echoes of the life that Ilos Prime once sustained, their light fading, unable to return to the cosmic weave. "This is it, Elara," the weave whispered. "Key source of the disharmony. Your unique frequency is needed. Attune. So. Resonate. Restore. Untunde. Ingos." Elara felt her own light, the unique spark that was Elara, little star sailor, begin to glow brighter within her projected form. She focused on the nexus, pouring her entire being, her wonder, her compassion, her connection to the cosmic weave, into the task. She began to sing, not with a voice, but with pure intention, with a vibration of harmony and balance. At first, her song was a faint whisper against the roar of the destructive resonance. But she didn't give up. She remembered the gentle hum of the weave, the harmonious symphony of the universe, and she channeled it. She felt the support of countless echoes, their collective strength flowing into her, amplifying her own light. Slowly, almost imperceptibly, the discordant resonance began to falter. Her harmonious frequency, gentle yet persistent, was starting to break through. It was like untangling a knotted thread, carefully, patiently, until the strands could flow freely again. The nexus point, sensing her intent, responded. Its flickering light became a little steadier. It began to hum, a low, resonant note that joined her song, strengthening it. Together, Elara and the nexus, amplified by the cosmic weave, began to push back against the destructive resonance. The battle wasn't a violent clash, but a subtle, energetic repatterning. It was the careful retuning of a cosmic instrument, bringing it back into perfect pitch. Elara felt the immense drain on her own energy, the profound effort of maintaining such a delicate balance, but she pressed on, knowing the fate of a star system hung in the balance. Finally, with a soft internal YT thrum, the destructive resonance shattered, dissolving into harmless energy ripples. The nexus point flared, its light steady and brilliant, no longer struggling, but vibrant and strong. The faint wisps of dying life around it brightened, their energy flowing freely, returning to the cosmic weave, a gentle migration home. Elara felt a profound sense of peace, a quiet triumph. The task was done. The heart of Ilos Prime was beating strongly once more. Slowly she began to withdraw, her consciousness rising from the planetary core, through the mantle and crust, back towards the Stardust wanderer. As she ascended, she felt the planet itself sigh, a gentle, grateful exhalation. The faint reddish haze of its atmosphere seemed to lighten, almost imperceptibly, promising a slow, long recovery. She opened her eyes in the cockpit. The main view screen showed Ilos Prime, still scarred, still barren, but the flickering of its binary suns had lessened, their light steadier, more vibrant. The energy readings from the system's core were now strong and harmonious. A wave of exhaustion washed over Elara, but it was a good exhaustion, the weariness that comes after a profound and meaningful effort. She leaned back in her chair, feeling the gentle, rhythmic hum of the cosmic weave within her, a comforting presence, a silent thank you. Her journey had taken her from a solitary search for home to becoming a healer of stars, a conduit of cosmic harmony. The universe had indeed shared many secrets. And Alara, the little star sailor, now a part of something immeasurably grander, knew that her path was far from over. There were countless other echoes, other whispers, other calls for balance waiting for her to discover, waiting for her unique light. And she, with a heart overflowing with wonder and a spirit newly attuned, was ready to answer. And she, with a heart overflowing with wonder and a spirit newly attuned, was ready to answer. Her star sailor vessel, now less a ship and more an extension of her own will, hummed with a quiet anticipation. It was no longer just a craft, but a living conduit, its crystal navigation systems glowing with the soft iridescent light of the lumina, her constant companions. These beings of pure energy, once guides, now served as an ethereal chorus, amplifying her connection to the cosmic web. Alara's days became a rhythm of discovery and restoration. She journeyed to a fledgling nebula where the nascent stars were flickering erratically, their gravitational song out of tune. With the lumina swirling around her, translating the discord into a language her heart could understand, Alara extended her consciousness. She felt the hesitant pulse of the young suns, the chaotic dance of gas and dust, and gently, patiently, she began to hum. It was not a sound from her throat, but a resonance from her soul, a pure tone of harmony that vibrated through the ship's core, through the lumina, and into the very fabric of the nebula. Slowly the erratic flickers calmed, the gravitational currents smoothed, and the nascent stars began to sing their proper, majestic song. Another time, she found a rogue comet, ancient and grief-stricken, veering dangerously close to a populated system. It carried the echoes of a lost civilization, a sorrow so profound it threatened to unravel the comet's icy core. Alara didn't intercept it with force, but with empathy. She drifted alongside the celestial wanderer, her ship cloaked in a field of gentle understanding. Through the lumina, she projected images of remembrance, of beauty, of the comet's own long, silent journey through the void. She offered it peace, not an end to its sorrow, but a recognition of its journey, a place for its grief within the grand tapestry. The comet, its icy heart seeming to expand with acceptance, subtly shifted its trajectory, arcing safely away, leaving behind a trail of shimmering, stardust tears that were no longer sad but serene. Each act of healing, each restoration of balance, deepened Alara's understanding and strengthened her connection. Her echo chamber, the ship's central meditation sphere, became a nexus where the whispers of the universe converged. She heard the silent pleas of ancient planetary spirits suffocating under technological blight, the faint cries of black holes yearning for equilibrium, the subtle anxieties of entire galaxies on the brink of energetic collapse. But amidst these individual calls, a grander, more insistent whisper began to grow. It wasn't a localized discord, but a spreading dissonance, a tear in the very fabric of cosmic serenity. The lumina grew agitated, their light flickering with an unfamiliar urgency. They projected vivid, abstract images into Alara's mind. Fractured light, splintering echoes, a vast silent scream echoing across countless light years. This was the Great Discord, a phenomenon unlike any Alara had encountered. It emanated from the farthest reaches of the known universe, from a region charted only as the Veil of Forgotten Stars, a nebulous expanse where ancient energies were said to have congealed and dissolved since the dawn of time. No star sailor had ever ventured deep into the veil and returned unchanged, if they returned at all. "It's a wound," Alara whispered, her fingers tracing a holographic projection of the affected region. It shimmered with an unnatural purple hue, like a bruise on the cosmic canvas. Not a break, but a deep, systemic infection. The lumina pulsed in agreement. They communicated that this was not merely a physical imbalance, but a primordial sorrow, an echo of the universe's earliest moments, when creation itself wrestled with chaos. It was the ultimate test of her newfound purpose. With a deep breath, Alara set her course. The journey to the Veil of Forgotten Stars was arduous. Her vessel, usually a graceful dancer through the void, now had to contend with eddies of null energy, phantom gravitational fields, and shimmering mirages that twisted reality. The stars themselves seemed to turn away as she approached, their light dimming in warning. The deeper she ventured, the more pronounced the discord became. It manifested as a pervasive hum, a low guttural vibration that resonated deep within her bones. It wasn't loud, but it was relentless, a constant reminder of the pain she was approaching. The echo chamber, usually a haven of peace, now pulsed with fragmented memories and half-formed fears, echoes of the ancient suffering that fueled the discord. Elara spent hours within it, meditating, grounding herself, reminding herself of the love and harmony she had witnessed and facilitated. Finally, after what felt like an eternity, her ship broke through the final shimmering curtain of the veil. Before her lay not chaos, but a scene of breathtaking, yet terrifying, beauty. It was a vast, shimmering void, but within it, colossal structures of solidified light and dark matter intertwined, forming an intricate, impossible sculpture. At its heart pulsed a sphere of pure, undulating energy, the source of the great discord. It was not malevolent, Elara realized, but suffering. Immense, ancient, unimaginable suffering. The lumina darted around her, their light now a kaleidoscope of warning and encouragement. They projected images of the sphere's origin, not a destructive force, but a colossal, primordial consciousness, one of the first beings to coalesce in the nascent universe. It had witnessed the birth of stars, the formation of galaxies, but also the inevitable decay, the constant struggle, the entropy that followed creation. Over eons, this witness consciousness had absorbed too much, held too much of the universe's pain, until it had become a nexus of all suffering, manifesting as the Great Discord. It was a cosmic empath, overwhelmed. Elara knew then that this wasn't about repairing a mechanism or redirecting an energy flow. This was about compassion on a scale she had barely conceived. She had to touch the heart of universal sorrow. She donned her specialized suit, designed to interface with her ship's harmony field, and floated out of the airlock, suspended in the shimmering void. The raw power of the discord washed over her, an agonizing symphony of forgotten screams, unfulfilled dreams, and the quiet despair of collapsing stars. It threatened to overwhelm her, to pull her into its vortex of pain. But Elara held fast. She closed her eyes, focusing on the calm, clear light within her, amplified by the lumina swirling around her like a protective, loving halo. "I hear you," she projected, not with words, but with her very being, a wave of pure, empathetic understanding. "I see your pain, you have carried so much for so long." She extended her hand, not physically, but energetically, toward the pulsating sphere. The lumina joined her, their combined light forming a bridge of pure, unconditional acceptance. She didn't try to fix it, or silence it. She simply offered herself as a conduit, a vessel for its suffering, a gentle mirror for its immense burden. What followed was not a battle, but a release. The sphere of energy pulsed violently, then began to soften, its harsh purple light melting into a spectrum of blues and greens. Elara felt the torrent of ancient grief, the weight of cosmic melancholy, flow through her. It was excruciating, 1,000 lifetimes of sorrow compressed into a single moment. She gritted her teeth, her own light dimming under the strain, but she did not break. She remembered the warmth of the nebula, the peace of the comet, the quiet joy of balance restored. She remembered her own journey, her own search for home, and how it had led her here, to this ultimate act of cosmic empathy. Slowly, imperceptibly at first, the raw pain began to transmute. As it passed through Elara's heart, it was touched by her compassion, by the luminous light, and it softened. The screams became whispers, the despair became a gentle ache, and finally, a profound weary peace. The colossal sphere of energy, the primordial consciousness, began to slowly, gracefully, dissipate. It wasn't dying, Elara understood, but finally, truly, resting. Its essence, once congealed into a knot of suffering, now diffused throughout the veil of forgotten stars, enriching it, seeding it, with a quiet, ancient wisdom. The swirling structures of light and dark matter around it stabilized, their impossible angles smoothing into elegant curves. The purple bruise on the cosmos faded, replaced by a gentle, shimmering luminescence, like a cosmic sigh of relief. Elara drifted back towards her ship, utterly spent, her suit glowing faintly with residual energies. The lumina, their light steady and warm once more, encircled her, supporting her, pouring their pure energy into her exhausted form. She felt a deep, profound emptiness where the suffering had been, but it was an emptiness filled not with loss, but with peace. Inside her vessel, back in the quiet sanctuary of the echo chamber, Elara collapsed onto the soft floor. She closed her eyes, and for the first time in a long time, she truly rested. She had faced the deepest sorrow of the universe, and offered it solace. She had not conquered it, but befriended it, understood it, and helped it find peace. When she finally opened her eyes, the echo chamber glowed with a new, vibrant light. The whispers were no longer pleas for help, but quiet songs of gratitude. The universe, in its infinite complexity, felt lighter, more harmonious. Elara looked out at the veil of forgotten stars, now shimmering with a gentle, eternal glow. Her ship, her home, was still a vessel of exploration, but it was also a sanctuary, a mobile beacon of hope. She had found her home not in a forgotten planet, but in the boundless expanse of the cosmos itself, in the act of bringing balance and understanding. Her journey had taken her from a solitary search for home to becoming a healer of stars, a conduit of cosmic harmony, and now, a gentle anchor in the heart of universal suffering. The universe had indeed shared many secrets, and Elara, the little star sailor, now a part of something immeasurably grander, knew that her path was far from over. There were countless other echoes, other whispers, other calls for balance waiting for her to discover, waiting for her unique light. But for now, the great discord was at peace, and so was she. With a heart overflowing with wonder, a spirit newly attuned, and a profound sense of belonging, Elara knew she would always be ready to answer. And as the gentle hum of her ship cradled her, she drifted into a well-earned, starlit slumber, dreaming of the endless beautiful work that lay ahead.